Hello and welcome inside the High School Huddle Softball, the inaugural show of the softball season. Softball season is underway. Can't wait to talk about it all season long. Along with Tony Wilson, I'm Chris Evans. Looking forward to this every Thursday night. And boy, there's a lot of softball action in the world of sports. Has grown over the years, I think, but softball is one near the top, Tony.
I think you're exactly right, Chris. And for my money, I would think that softball is the second biggest sport in Oklahoma behind football.
There's a good argument. Volleyball has had good numbers over recent, but you know the softball has been building and building over some time. And
Sure,
if you go those state tournaments like you do all the time, or those big tournaments, the numbers are there.
they are, and especially at Shawnee where they have the fourplex field, and they're expanding obviously, but there's just people on top of people from 8 a.m. until 10 p.m. and it's just a wild atmosphere. You'll hear one groan from one field and one from another, and they're building their championship field down there, Chris, and I truly think that will be the site for the OSSA for years to come.
Yeah, I've seen some aerial shots, and the stadium part of it is going to be so nice. Looking forward to it. Hopefully, when Fire Lake's probably a little different, but there's other places who build stuff. They kind of leave this part out. But I think for what they want to do there, I think they are putting it all out there.
Well, I'm a little bit more privy than a lot of people are down there with Kelly and, of course, Larry James, of course, down there. And just talking to those guys and some people with the tribe, their stadium is going to be second to none. I mean, it's going to be not as great as OU's, but it's going to be seating-wise. The capacity is not going to be much more or less than that. And I think for the amenities that they're going to have with that stadium, it's going to be world-class. And you're going to see, I think a lot of things are going to be hosted in Shawnee, Oklahoma, come softball-wise for sure.
And Fire Lake wants that. They open up very similar to Shawnee when it comes to high school baseball state championships. Shawnee wants those titles. Same thing at Fire Lake there. They want those big-time atmospheres there. And they have built over the process, the turf on the fields, the other fields out there. Has
10
been
turf fields.
Yeah, amazing. And so it's going to be fun. And every year there's always big-time teams. And speaking of big-time, here in a little bit, we're going to be joined by our first guest here on the High School Huddle Softball, head coach over at Choctaw, Lindsay Mudget. And what a career she's already had, just maybe I guess 2015 since Choctaw, but been going a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, she has, and she's been a softballer since day one. And she, if you know anything about Lindsay Mudget and Nikki and Sister Allie and the last name Vandiver in Oklahoma, that's some of the royalty of Oklahoma softball in those iconic Davenport years where they were beating all takers, if you will, and not only just beating them, but beating them bad as well. So it'll be fun having Lindsay on. She's super excited. And I'll tell you this, Chris, I too am excited. So thank you for this opportunity and just making phone calls across the state and getting numbers from different coaches of people who think that we need to have on or, could have as guests. That it's just the excitement in these coaches' voice about our opportunity to help grow even further the game of softball is what they're excited about, and they're looking forward to what all we come up with, and it's just been just one of those, whatever I can do to help softball, I am in 100%.
That's awesome. And when we're recording this, Lindsay's 1-0, so she should be in a really good mood to speak with us.
10-0 last night.
Yeah, it was and it was a district win as well.
Sure.
So she should be in a pretty good mood. We'll talk to her in just a few moments. Of course, she's chasing the Mustang Broncos, who won fast pitch and slow pitch last year.
Well, and she was on the losing end of that slow pitch side, and that was one of the most unbelievable performances I have ever witnessed in sport. I mean, it was just a home run barrage, and Lindsay, she's as competitive as she is. She was not happy about that. So, and we'll give her a little ribbon about that, I'm sure. And
you will. You know her a little bit better. So.
No, and but Mustang is the top dog, and they are the standard of what softball programs are trying to achieve at this very moment. And of course, back down a little bit, 3A, you're going to have Washington's going to be their perennial power, Coach Lampkin, and some girl named Gray moving in from, and it's going to be interesting, Chris, for us to even try to figure out these rosters of these teams. And I can't imagine what you guys got to go through football coming up with the high school huddle football version. But, and then 4A, I think Lone Grove is probably the team to beat. 5A may be one of the most wide open classes.
Yeah, and we'll talk about 5A here in just a little bit, because they always have what I call the pre-state tournament every year in Pryor, Oklahoma. Great facility, by the way, baseball and softball and football. They got a lot of momentum up in Pryor right now, but they always have that first tournament of the year just right off the bang. I mean, Tahlequah, Pryor, Claremore, Guthrie,
Carl Albert.
They're all up there. So
yeah, come get you some tournament, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We saw Carl Albert last year win a state championship. I think it was their first title since 2018.
Right.
So they got back there. You mentioned Lone Grove. We'll talk about them as well coming up here in a little bit. But it's pretty cool in the smaller classes. Oakdale won their second ever state championship last year. They're coming back.
Yes.
And then Arapahoe Butler won their first state championship, and Leedy won their first state championship last year. So.
Yeah, there was a lot of new faces, if you will, that crowned as champions. And that just goes to show you the parity in softball. I mean, from one year to the next. And there's some, looking at the list that was generated last night that we got to try to see who's who in softball, there's some smaller school people that are getting as much recognition as 5A, 6A folks. Yeah. And it's pretty fun to watch, and it's a great brand of softball. But, you talk about softball, and I talked to Mike Clark at the association yesterday and was talking to him about the show. And he said, again, whatever, Tony, we're on board. I'll get a message out to all the coaches tomorrow, and the Norman North coach, or the Edmond North coach, she sent out a message to the OCA members that the show is going to happen, and gave her the link for them to be able to tune in and see tomorrow night's show. But that it's just amazing, Chris. It really is. But I just Stewart, for example, in the smaller classes, they don't even have enough to field a team this year. They're having a co-op. I mean, and it's just that this moving has decimated some and made others richer, if you will, and that's just going to be the norm from now on.
It is. I go back and forth. Big picture, not a fan of it. There are situations that I completely understand. If I were there, I would understand making the transfer or the move. But it's probably a topic we can probably get into a little bit later on throughout the entire, not on the show, but throughout the entire season as well. But we were talking about the success of high school softball over the years. I think a big part of that has obviously been the University of Oklahoma and OSU softball and their success.
Right, and that's what it's been over the years. And you've seen OSU has made several runs at the World Series, and of course OU's dominance up until about last year from what they have done, and it just grows, and it just makes the especially being able to play in Oklahoma City at Hall of Fame, which is the mecca, of course, of all softball. And it just makes young girls in Oklahoma go, I want to be her one day. And that's the great part about it, is they get to see it firsthand. They get to go to OU, they get to go to OSU and hang out at those stadiums and see the girls. And I'll tell you what, Coach Gajewski and Coach Gasso both have done a great job with allowing their girls to be interactive. Yeah. And that's truly what I think helps grow the sport as well. Yeah, we were just talking about the success that these collegiate programs have, and now we have another Gasso in the state with JT at Tulsa, so it's even going to be further expanded on the success of softball. And speaking of success, I think we have our first guest of the year, Chris.
Yeah, that's a great transition with success as we bring in the Choctaw head coach of the Lady Jackets, Coach Lindsey Mudgett. Coach, thank you so much for joining us and being the first guest on the High School Huddle softball show.
Well, pleasure's all mine. It's definitely an honor for you guys to have me.
Man, we caught you at the right time. You're a perfect 1-0 on the year. Hopefully a whole lot more coming, but off to a good start. And my first question, how are you guys handling this deadgum summer heat?
Man, I'll tell you this, it is brutal, especially now that pretty much, especially in 6A, all you play on is turf. And so that amplifies all the heat too as well. But it's definitely been brutal. We've been trying to go kind of early in the mornings to try and beat the heat. But now that season started, there's really no way to avoid it. So just a lot of hydration, preparation, and keeping an eye on the girls. But it is hot for sure.
Your game yesterday, or against Edmond North, was a little bit later. Was that by design, or is it, you usually play at 5 when it cools off, or are you typically a 6:30 start game?
No, I mean, we started later for Edmond North because we had our middle school that played too as well. Edmond North turf fields weren't done. All the Edmond schools, are getting turf. And so their field wasn't yet completed. And so we had to kind of maneuver some things around. Middle school was playing at home. And so we just came on the back side of them and started at 6. But it was nice. It did make for kind of a more pleasant, more evening for us to get out there and compete.
Of course, you've been in Choctaw since 2015, won tons of ball games. We'll get into all that fun stuff. But, boy, Choctaw has really been a lot of success athletic-wise with Corbin at football, Coach Hawk at baseball, of course, you at softball. A lot of great things happening at Choctaw.
Yeah, I've actually been here since 14. That was my first fast pitch season. Man, time flies, but seeing it grow out here, so fast, so quick, has been something really fun to be a part of. We have a great community base that really supports not only a sports program, but just extracurricular activities in general. And great, administration that follows along with that, and definitely been blessed being here. Great group of coaches to be working alongside. We definitely push each other, challenge each other, and I think the competitive part, it's like, well, you're winning, so I think I have to win too, and so we kind of iron sharpens iron on that. So.
And the facilities are getting better and better, like a lot of schools are, but that's happening at Choctaw as well.
Yeah. Our brand new indoor facility, the 60-yard indoor football field, just got open with a brand new. The weight room is just gorgeous. It has Coach Corbin done a really good job of designing that, and it has all the perks, all the little detail. It's really pretty. And the football team, they just moved in a couple of weeks ago. And then we're getting a new gym, a brand new high school. It's pretty cool to be a part of. Beautiful campus, and excited to see where it takes us.
Lindsay, what I want to know is this, and you know that we've known each other for forever, since forever, but do your girls know who you are and how good you were at softball?
When I first got here, everyone kind of knew my name. And now I'm getting old. I'm getting old. And so definitely a big has been, but, I really try to intertwine some of my experiences, and not just my experiences, but the people that I was blessed to kind of grow up around, be mentored by, obviously be coached by, and kind of intertwine it with a lot of the things that I do today.
How much David Smith do you have in you?
Our program.
How much Coach Smith do you have in you?
Man, that's my big sister. I had Coach Cook and Coach Acord. And
okay, so
Coach Gaylord a little bit, and then you can't forget my dad.
Sure.
Yeah. Coach Smith was already gone now. Yeah.
So talk about that, just coming from small school Davenport. So, you talk a lot about, and especially in today's world with the transfer portal and all this stuff, and people being able to have the one move, and just talk about, if you can play, you're going to be found. From Davenport, Oklahoma, you were successful at OU, your sister at UCO. Your other sister played collegiately. Just talk a little bit about that, if you would.
Yeah, I'm definitely a hometown girl, small town family. It was, just kind of crazy how Coach Gasso found me, and came along. One of the things that I remember is, she came along and watched me in the state finals basketball game, and that was a big part of when she kind of figured out who I was and my name. And I'll never forget that, just because so many people now hound just one sport athletes, and multi-sport athletes. I got 3 boys of my own, and just being an all-around athlete just has so many benefits to it, that we can go into another time, but you can talk about that stuff. And that was one thing that I loved about being in a small town, just the community base. That's one thing that brought me here to Choctaw, especially, when I came here in 2014, was that, 6A program, but small town filled, small town community. Definitely one that looks after your family, your kids. They know who you are. And that was just a big perk for me. I thought the high school experience I had, not everyone gets to have, won a lot. Very fortunate to have such amazing coaches in my life that mentored me. And that's a big part of why I wanted to go high school. All through college, under Coach Gasso, I thought I wanted to coach collegiate ball. I thought I wanted to work with elite athletes, and And the more and more I kind of progressed, the more and more I wanted to get into that development stage and bring bring female athletes the opportunity that I had, and that I was blessed with at Devonport. And not every program's ran like that. Not every athlete has that experience. But I hope and pray my boys get to experience something very similar to what I had in high school. And that stuff is very hard and difficult to find anymore. The loyalty that you talk about in a small town or just in a community in general, whether it's a big school or a little school, with the open portal that you have and all the transferring. I think that's just part of our society now. That's kind of where we're at. I think in the workforce, as well as collegiate sports and in high school, I do think there's a balance to it and there's a healthy way to go about it. Ultimately families got to do what's best for their families and for their kid. But when you hang with something, when you build something, there's nothing that can replace that, no matter how many times you jump around. The big saying, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And I truly believe that. And it's hard. People talk about how it's difficult to build a program, and it is. It's difficult to build winning and success, and there's a lot of things that go behind it. But I think what I've experienced as a coach is that it's actually harder to sustain it and keep it rolling, especially in kind of the society that we live in now. It's hard to keep. It's a big task.
Speak with Choctaw head coach of the Lady Jackets softball program, Lindsey Mudget. Since coming into high school athletics, take the portal thing off to the side. What has been some of the biggest changes that you've seen in high school softball since becoming a coach? These players are getting bigger and stronger seems like every year.
Absolutely. I think that's just the training. Kids start at such a young age anymore, specializing, and that is a big part of their talent today that you see. Kids are bigger, faster, stronger, and it's just because of the resources they have. When I was in high school, man, I would have loved to have a weight room that we have now. I would have loved to have, honestly, a batting cage, or a locker room, if that. But it's just the resources. It's just the opportunity that they're presented with. And, that's a big thing that we talk about here in our program is every day is an opportunity to be great. Every day is an opportunity to get better and to learn and grow. And I think that that's the biggest difference now. That's why you see, whether they're female athletes or male athletes, they're bigger, faster, stronger. It's just because the sports in itself has evolved. You see it in collegiate athletics as well, and it's trickling down into the high school athletics. I think it's really cool to see, because I think it brings a lot more success a little bit earlier in their life. But the biggest thing that I think is maybe hindering a little bit is that we're trying to get these kids to specialize on one sport, way too early, and kind of put them in a box. And that really, I think in the long run, that really causes quicker injury. It causes burnout, things like that are big subjects that we talk about now, especially in high school sports. And that's kind of unfortunate. And so I think we're trying to still kind of find the balance. But you're right. It's pretty amazing how our sports and just our athletes in general are just, man, they're evolving. It's pretty cool to watch.
Well, go ahead.
I was thinking, big schools like Choctaw, if you're from Pecola, Oklahoma, you kind of stick out as far as playing sports, but like these big schools like Choctaw, I always feel like sometimes some kids mature at different ages. Like I know there was a guy that was horrible in junior high, but once he hit his sophomore year, he, grew and got big. It seems like maybe I'm wrong, but big schools, those young athletes maybe get lost at a certain time, and then they don't have the success. And so you have the stud sophomore, the stud senior in front of them, and they never, I don't want to say never get a chance, because it's not a coach's fault. It's just a numbers game sometimes.
No, you're absolutely right. Obviously, the bigger pool that you have to pull from, the bigger competition, more competition you're going to have. Yeah. But that's what you see. You see, I think you can see it at any, size of school. But you definitely can see, we'll have kids come through here and they just haven't reached like maturity level yet, and it's not because they're a bad player. It's not because of this or that. It's just strictly, they haven't matured. Their body hasn't matured to enable them to be as successful as maybe their buddy to the left or right. It is unfortunate. And I do think that is one of the benefits of the transfer, portal. I don't think all of it is bad. Even, a big loyal person that comes from a small town, mentality, is because, like at the end of the day, families do have to do what's best for them and their kid. You only get one high school, career. There's no going back and redoing it. And so that is cool. If you find yourself or you find your kid that maybe it's just not a right fit for you, not every program's for every kid out there or every family. And it just gives them an opportunity to kind of have a little leeway to maybe find a better place for them to be successful at. And, not saying that in a negative way, but just, it just kind of opens up opportunity, because that is definitely something that you are seeing.
It's a different world.
So talk about quick, a couple things here. First off, talk about your neighbors to the west, Mustang, and their prowess that they've had in the past couple seasons. And
Jeez,
she knew it was coming, but that's. But 6A is a very competitive class, and just talk about what you're looking at this season as far as who are the teams to beat in 6A besides Choctaw, obviously.
Yeah, one, you gotta respect teams that win and win consistently, and obviously Mustang does that, and we enjoy playing competition, and we enjoy playing the best out there, and that's kind of our mentality. We really don't care who it is, what class it is, but if they're going to challenge us, like we want to be on the field with them. And 6A had a lot of turnover from last year, in the sense of last year it was a really big senior class, very competitive senior class, a lot of great ball players. And we had you'll laugh at this, Tony, but my dad just walked in.
Hi, Mike.
Yeah, he's in it, but like
get Mike a screenshot.
And so I was giving him the hold on.
Yeah.
And but yeah, he I there's just it's a really good class, and so I do think that this year 6A will, in a sense, be a little bit wide open, with a lot of less experience on the field than probably in the past. Younger players stepping up. We played Moore the other day. They looked really, really strong, really good. Of course, they're always in the runnings for it. Piedmont, they have a dang army out there. They get so many kids out, and Coach Coleman does such a great job out there. And then, you can't rule out your Emma Memorials, Owasso, BA. It's still going to be a very strong 6A. 6A is really strong, especially, when you get into the top 12, a lot of competition. And, but yeah, we worry about us. Honestly, we focus about us, and what we can do, our full potential. We worry about what we can bring, and really try and stick to our strengths and what we're really, really good at, and then see where that takes us. And that's why I love high school softball, is because every year it's like a puzzle piece that you have to put together. I always tell the girls it's easy to go out and pick girls and coach a lot of talent. It's easy to coach talent. And that's not always the case in high school. Sometimes you really have to develop kids majority of the time, and do all those little things right. And that's something that I love doing. I love developing leaders. I love, seeing them go from, their freshman year and how far along they've come their senior year. And we hope, obviously, if we're doing it the right way, success and wins come along the way. But that's just kind of my passion at heart, is just watching them grow through the game and understanding how big of a pipeline this game can be for them and what it can bring to their life.
A few more minutes here with Choctaw head coach Lindsey Mudget of the Yellow Jacket softball program. Now, when you talk football with the Eastside schools, they love to tell you that they've won every state championship since 1995, and so we have to go, yeah, on the west side, yeah, you're right. However, softball, it's been quite a run. There's a couple of years I look back on Fast Bench where Eastside school has snuck in there, but your regular season schedule matches up with a lot of state tournament, state championship type games.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, like we want every single game to be very much similar to what a state tournament type of game would be. If it's not, it really isn't making us any better. And so, even if we take losses here and there, I firmly believe that the only way that you learn and get better is taking failure and growing and learning from it. And so we challenge ourselves. We lost 7 seniors last year. Really big, probably the most powerful group of seniors that I've lost since I've been here. Great group of kids, the most successful senior class that has ever come through Choctaw, and it's kind of been felt a little bit here, like just new leaders, new faces, new voices. And these girls, man, they just been up for the challenge. And so it's been kind of new, refreshing, but at the same time, just anticipating to see, what it's going to be like, what it's going to feel like, and then who's going to step up, and that's kind of the fun part of it. And so
It's that puzzle piece you were talking about, right?
West Side, yeah, absolutely. And West Side always brings really good softball, but you can never rule out the East Side. I mean, they have Coach King and Coach Shane out there at Owasso. They always put really, really good teams together. They've been in a long time, and they have a lot of experience in coaching, been real successful. So.
Last question for me, and I saw you holding the sticker with the 300 number on there. Give me one regular season. I don't want a state tournament. I don't want a regional. I want one regular season game that just pops right at you.
Man, no regional or no
regional, no state
tournament, just
nope.
a regular.
Those are easy, Coach.
Yeah, I will have to say one of the most, and I think as a fan, it would have been a phenomenal game to be a part of and watch. I want to say maybe it was, not last year, so 2 years ago, we played Owasso here. They were in our district. We went 9 innings and ended up pulling that game off. And that was a really big game. I mean, obviously that's pretty recent. I've been blessed with some really good players, some great parents and support, and along with that has become, obviously just incredible games. And all my coaches, staff, people that have come, gone, and moved on and stuff. A lot of my former athletes are either coming back to coach with me, or they're moving on to coach themselves, which is so cool to see. And I love that they're having that presence, that female present in a female sport. And I really think that stuff is speaks volume. Does.
Where was win number 1 at?
For Choctaw, like for me when I got here?
Career victory number 1.
I have no idea.
Oh no!
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you.
I bet your dad could.
I
bet your dad can.
Maybe so. He does have a better memory than me. I mean, he remembers everything. But no, I couldn't even tell you. I'd have to think about it. I mean, I've had 3 kids, mama brains, that fog brains.
Last thing for me right quick, Lindsay, is talk about just very quickly the pride that you have with 2 sisters that are also head coaches for fast pitch high school softball with Nikki at Cushing and Allie at Stroud.
Yeah, I really don't know how our husbands deal with it, honestly, and how my mom and dad deal with it, because public education in general is tough to be in, and then you put the head coaching title next to it. It definitely makes it challenging, but man, it's just always been in our blood. My grandpa was always one that had athletics tied into him, and then my dad always coaching us throughout our career. I mean, he won 13 state titles.
Sure.
A lot of people, and he never got paid a dime. He just done it because he loved it, and his kids were involved in it. And just it is though. It's pretty cool to see. I was hoping that I'd have a daughter of my own so I could coach one day. But love watching my nieces and getting to kind of be a part of their life and play a different role to them. As they're going through female sports and athletics and. But God blessed me with 3 boys, gives my husband, he loves to coach it himself. And so it gives him an avenue to do that on the side. And, they bless, I guess I don't need a girl because I always have about 30 girls that I feel like, I take care of pretty well. And so, it allows me to be mom, which is kind of nice too. So, but it's pretty incredible what softball, especially Oklahoma softball in general, high school and obviously collegiate softball, has been to my family. The passion that we've had for it, and man, where it's taken us in life. It's definitely a vessel that God's been using us through, and we definitely don't take it for granted.
Well, Lindsay, best of luck. I know you're going to finish the week out at the Chisholm Trail tournament over there at Festival over in Tuttle. Might be a team called Mustang over there that you'll see. So you get an early schedule challenge for your crew. Man, so nice to meet you and visit with you. And I wish nothing you and your program the best of luck this year. And getting to the state tournament's not been an issue for you guys, so continue that streak. I know that's always the goal, to get to the tournament and to win it. But congratulations on 300 victories as well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Nice to meet you, Chris. Thank you guys for having me on.
Make sure you tell everybody about the show.
I will. Absolutely. Share.
Thanks, Lindsay. I appreciate it.
All right. See ya.
Head coach of the Choctaw Yellowjackets, Lindsey Mudgett, and you can tell why her team has been in 5 or 6 straight state tournaments and have gotten so close. Now, they won the slow pitch a couple years ago, but so close.
She's had some weird scenarios happen in these games that have just been like, did that really just happen moments?
Yeah.
And we could have sat here for another 2 hours talking about some of those situations where a base running blunder here, just a fluke freak thing happened, but she'll crack the nut one of these days and pick up a fast pitch one here, maybe sooner than later.
Yeah. So 6A's loaded, man. I know Mustang won the slow pitch and fast pitch last year, but 6A is so highly competitive.
It really is, and like she said, she has 30 girls, and one of the questions I didn't get in was how many did you start with this season? That come out. It was probably, I would guess, somewhere in the 50 to 60 range girls. But that just goes again. We talked earlier, Chris, about the growth and just the success and the continued development of high school softball in Oklahoma, and I don't know many places that are better state to state. I mean, obviously Oklahoma being a less populous state, but the popularity of softball is definitely one of the top 5, I would say.
No doubt. Take a look at Class 5A. Should be another fun season, and we mentioned at the beginning of the show that the prior tournament up there, festival, however you want to look at it, really some high competitive teams there year in and year out. In fact, it's almost a state tournament preview show, a tournament when you have those teams in there. Tahlequah with the early bragging rights. And these games are important. Right. Guthrie's a school that went up there, and so Guthrie loses 2 out of 3. They walk off Claremore. They play these prior in Tahlequah. These games being played right now go a long ways when you look at how to seed for regionals and state and all that.
And and you get on to me for bringing the Chandler aspect up to it, but Brian Herring, he's been 19 years the head softball coach at Chandler, and even the guy that he learned from that is Mark Howard. And just as well as anybody with umpiring back in the day in our baseball games, we played the best of the best. And that's how Brian schedules, and I'm sure that's how Lindsay schedules. I mean, sure, you can go out and rack up all the wins you want to, but at the end of the day, you need to find out where you are. And with even Guthrie taking those 2 out of 3 losses, it still gives their coaching staff an idea of, hey, this is kind of, where we need to focus on, the things we need to improve in, what we're doing okay, and what we're doing good. And it just, these regular season losses, as long as they're not in district, they help you more than they hurt you, in my opinion.
I think it's putting you in the right spot for when you get into those big time games, regional games, when it really matters. You've been in those situations. You've seen what that fast pitch looks like, what that off-speed pitch looks like. But if and
it could tell you where in your lineup can do what.
Yeah,
move a runner, hit to the other side of the field. Things that are extremely important in this sport for sure.
Yeah, Carl Albert, 5A state champions, first title they've had since 2018. But, Pryor has been elite.
Yes.
Tahlequah has been elite. Guthrie, 5-6 years in a row. I forgot what is in a row. Piedmont has been
great success.
Great success in 5A as well. Pryor, Tahlequah, Claremore, Duncan has had some state tournament team last year.
How long ago was it we were at Marta Hines Field at OU for that great
Yeah, walk off.
Oh yeah, sickening for Chris Evans.
Yeah, Guthrie Piedmont. It was a great high school,
great game, phenomenal game. But that's the great thing about softball, man, is it just one pitch can change the game, and you just see the superstars. You see them, watch them from when they're freshmen, and you're like, oh, this kid may be pretty good, or this young lady, or however you want to phrase it. But and then just continue to watch their success, and kind of like we did with back in 2A basketball with Alyssa Parker, and look where she is today. And they stand out. I mean, the best of the best are not seniors; they're freshmen, and they're they make noise and waves, and they contribute, and it's top to bottom from 6A to B. You got some great softball players here in the state of Oklahoma.
And you look at Class 4A, a team that you're familiar with. You call a state championship last year, Lone Grove.
Yeah.
They captured the 5th state championship, and
probably
they have eyes on number 6, best pitcher.
I would think so, arguably one of, and she's just it's just crazy. And talking to Coach Chance down there, and he just, oh man, he's ready, and he knows that he's got the target on his back. Being the defending state champions, now has her back again as well. So we'll see how that comes out. Yeah,
Lone Grove opens up the season with a 10-0 victory over Medill. I believe that was a district game too. First game right out.
They are.
Have to play a district game there.
Yeah.
But what are some other schools in 4A? Tuttle. Tuttle's good in every sport, so I start with Tuttle.
Well, I saw they played Washington 3-2 on Monday.
That tells me all I need to know.
Yeah, 3-2 on Monday. So you know that they're going to be raring to go. But
came back and beat Perkins 8-1, so they're 1-1 on the year.
Right, and so it's just through doing this since 1986 and being around state championship games, calling the first one in '93 at baseball at Shawnee, you expect there to be a certain few teams that you're going to see year in and year out. But the mixture in softball lately has been a lot different. Like you're talking about state champions that have won their first one, and that just again goes to the testament of what's going on with softball in Oklahoma.
I tell you, Tuttle's the place to be. They got a great tournament or festival with Carl Albert, Tahlequah, Claremore's there, Tuttle obviously there, Choctaw. So a lot of good softball being played in Tuttle at the end of this week.
I wonder if I could find a spot in the press box down there.
I'll be in Tuttle for football to open up our football season at the end of this month. But softball, is it still all about the pitcher?
I mean, if you have a dominant girl in the circle, you're going to win 95% of the time.
Still
it really is. And you can have the best of the best hitters, and you get sawed off so often. And I was fortunate enough to be able to watch Kennedy Allen last year, senior, committed to and is at Oklahoma State at Chandler. And it's just sometimes it's unfair. I mean, you're going to have great hitters that you're facing all the time. And, you may get a changeup one time that just drops off the plate, or you may get a rise ball that just fists you and you get a weak ground ball somewhere or a pop up. But it really is about what happens in the circle and fast pitch. I mean, if you have that girl, then you're going to go a long ways for sure. And you're going to have to figure out a way to manufacture 1 or 2 runs. And that's what we talked about earlier with that Guthrie lineup, or any lineup for that matter, just figuring out who can do what in the middle of the lineup to try to manufacture that 1 run you need to give to your superstar.
Real quickly, 3A. I mean, is there a discussion there?
Gosh, the evil empire for me.
Yeah. The Fighting Hunter Shepherds.
Yeah, the Fighting Hunter Shepherds. Yeah, for sure. But Coach Lampkin's a great guy, and his program is top notch, and they do a phenomenal job. And Jayla Gary again moving in from Canute is only going to make them better. But she's learning that she's not the big fish in the pond. I mean, the pond grew coming from Canute to Washington, but she's still going to be a contributor to that group, and of course made them better, which I knew this was coming about 2 months before it broke, and I was not very happy, even though I like Jeremy Gray.
We want her to play both sports, obviously, but which one's her better one, you think? Softball?
Basketball.
Basketball.
Yeah, that's what I thought. She's a basketballer.
I've seen basketball. I have not seen softball.
She'll run track too. I mean, Washington is to me, in the middle classes, if you will, like you said with Tuttle, they have great success. And then, Jeff Colbeth wins 3 in a row for baseball and Lampkin. And, the guys that just, I don't know. They have great facilities down there, and they work hard. They're a close-knit community. They do things right. And Brad Beller, he's top-notch guy at football. I'll get to see him week 10. I'm looking forward to that. But it's just, I mean, it's the standard of what smaller school athletics, try to be.
Yeah, Washington beats Tuttle to begin the year 3-2. That was a great ball game to begin the season. So I'm glad. I'm glad
from behind win.
Yeah, I'm glad to see all these teams Coach Mudgett talked about. Put them up against the best, and let's see where we are.
For sure.
So that is a little look at 3A. Chandler Lions 2-0, Tony.
Yeah, we went to Okmulgee Monday, and that's one of those district games that we have to go to, and we play 2 district games over there, so we don't have to travel back and forth.
Yeah, just get them out early, get them out of the way. 32-0 combined score there. So
yeah, and it was the same way last year. And you commend those girls from Okmulgee for getting out there and play. They're just, unfortunately, I mean, they're probably great girls. I don't know one of them. If she would walk in the room in street clothes and tell me she was from Okmulgee, I'd have to say, okay, I believe you. But they just they put a product on the field and they do the best they can, and you have to commend them for that.
Adair Kingston undefeated starts at 3-0, as has Washington. Hennessy also 2-0 to begin their season in Class 3A.
It's going to be an interesting class, but I think it's Washington's to lose, in my opinion.
2A softball, and
maybe I could put the jinx on them.
That maybe it's going to have to stop sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere it's going to happen. I don't know.
Sorry, Taylor.
It might be 20 years, but it's going to happen one day. It's going to happen there. So, and we're going to get some other topic. I want to go through these classes here real quick, but
sure.
Class 2A starts with our good friend Andy Powell and those Dale Pirates.
And Andy, talked to Andy about the show the other night, and he said, Tony Booty, he said it's going to be, first of all, he's excited about the show as well, but he said his pitching may not be the best it's been, and I saw they had a 1-run game yesterday over Van Austin, and so his production, and they took on some in their scrimmage games. They took on some people that put it on their chin and hit them pretty hard. So
which is what
he wants. Yeah, he wants for sure. Andy's a competitor, and he knows the drill, so to speak. So, but Dale, again, you talk about the standard. They are the standard. Basketball is really good, and of course they have 3 sports. 2 sports?
Basketball, baseball for sure.
I don't
it's
know.
It's softball.
Band. Is that a sport?
Yeah.
Extracurricular activity, of course. But so shout
Andy
out to
Powell,
Rachel.
20th season. He's got a 14 fast pitch, slow pitch state championship since 2012.
He does. And, again, as we talk about, and a lot of these coaches are great coaches, don't get me wrong, but, and Andy's been the beneficiary of some moves, and they all have. But
I think almost everybody has.
But here's the deal, Chris. You can get them in, but it's how you mesh them with what you have going. You can have somebody who thinks that they're the best player there is, and they get over there, and their attitude becomes a cancer. And, you tell them, hey, I don't know where you're going, but it's not going to be here, but and he makes it work, and he's had a great group of girls, and he has some great assistant coaches, and, Jason over there, the AD, and he's just had a lot of support administratively, and that's what it takes to build. And some of these people don't get that, but it takes a mountain. Yeah, I mean, a mountain of people to make everything work, and just not Andy's coaching ability, but the players have to buy in. You hear that term a lot, lock in or buy in or whatever you want to call it. But it's very important in sports that you trust your coaching staff for sure.
We've seen some NBA super teams come together that just was not a good fix together.
Right.
And we see that a lot. And
hopefully there's one in Philadelphia that doesn't work. Anyway, another story another time.
So this is going to be a fun season, softball, and we're going to do this every Thursday night. And there's my cue there. But this is going to be a fun show. We're going to get into a bunch of different topics throughout the entire season. But I think the part I'm looking for is meet all these coaches like Lindsay.
Yeah, I've got a whole list of coaches that have agreed to come on. And
awesome.
Casey Bowles, that she handles a lot of travel ball stuff. That's Mike Clark's daughter, and she has experience that she worked at USA Softball Hall of Fame, and so we'll get some of that knowledge from her, and was able to do an international broadcast, or PA for an international championship out there thanks to her, and so I was pretty fortunate with that. But softball is queen in Oklahoma. There's zero doubt.
Yeah, and we invite you to check us out on the High School Huddle. Our feature page is our YouTube channel, so subscribe there. It's free, and then watch us every Thursday night. And leave us in the comments of what topics, some players that we're not talking about that we don't know about, or whatever you want, help out the show. Put them in the comments, because we will definitely be reading those, and you are the big part of this show as well. We get microphones, but you guys get voices as well. I think that's what's really cool about this. I'm excited for coaches to be on here, different guests to be on here, but also the feedback that we get from all those. And if there's somebody that you want us to interview, let us know, and we'll definitely try our best to get them on here. And we will try to have most of them on this show right here, but there might be standalone interviews that we might have to do throughout the week as well. It just depends on coaches' schedules and all that. So I'm looking forward to it.
As well am I. And thank you again and for doing this. And this is going to be great for softball, and I'm truly excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, we're going to get into a whole lot more as the season unfolds. I know Jordan Davis of the Oklahoman, I think his beat is softball.
Yep.
And so no doubt he'll be a guest, and we'll have meeting people around the state. That's the goal anyway.
Sure. And no telling who we may find along the way.
So, I get to see a lot of campuses, but facility-wise, who's got the facilities like, oh, wow, that's the facility?
I mean, 3A, Washington has one that's phenomenal, but, our indoor at Chandler is second to none. I mean, for a 3A school that we've had for 10 years, it's a 90 by 100.
Yeah.
You can do just about whatever you want in there, but the
Edmond schools are going to
Edmond
turf.
schools are going to turf, and it's just they're just evolving. With popularity comes evolvement, and some districts don't have the money to do that, but they make do with what they have and still have great years. But I don't get to see a whole lot of softball stuff and with my football obligations. But when I do, we're on, some campuses and seeing it's like, hey, man, that's nice. Metro, they have a great facility at Metro, and softball and baseball, are usually combined. They don't have, separately. So, but different seasons and slow pitch, unless you're AB.
I was out in eastern Oklahoma and not too far from Pensacola. I was like, man, I got to go see what Pensacola softball looks like, because the young lady that's at OU playing some softball there. You're like, let me go to Pensacola softball and see what this is all about.
What were you really doing in Pensacola, Chris? Tell the truth.
The football program is really, really good, too. I was like,
basketball's been
good as well.
Sure.
I guess that guy went to Missouri, right? I wonder if he's still there.
I don't think he's staying.
Okay.
I think he's leaving.
Okay. But this is, I guess, I got to see Pensacola softball. So
yeah, what were you doing in Pensacola, Chris?
That was a concert over in the area. Yeah,
Tracy Lawrence or something.
He was over there for a little while. Yeah. So, Panama, the Razorbacks when it's all there. I was in the Poto area. I got a big.
You've had a big tour of facilities, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's your favorite that you've seen so far?
From the roadway, I've seen like the Broken Arrows, the Unions, the Jinx.
Those are going to be big.
Absolutely, yeah. They have all the resources there too. But Stroud right off the highway.
Stroud's got a good
I drive by that all the time. I don't know if I would like to play off the highway though, with a highway noise.
I've been over there. Of course, we play there.
You're allowed in Stroud?
Yes, I am allowed in Stroud.
I learned something on the show. That's good.
I have to sneak in, but I can't really sneak anywhere. But anyway, it's really not that bad. It's far enough away that it doesn't really cause that much.
Shakota is like that.
Shakota,
right off the highway as well.
Yeah, exactly. I-40. Yeah, right there. But Salisaw, Black Diamonds aren't too far off of I-40, further east. But anyhow, it's going to be a great year, fun show, and I think that once that people get the word out, I think that this broadcast will be not because of you and I, but because of the sport. I think it'll be big.
It'll be fun, and that's why we need your interaction. Help us out because we are nowhere near around every program. Love to be around every program, but you guys out there definitely know that, and I know you guys will help us out as much as possible. So look forward to it. And anything else in the inaugural? We got to get an umpire or somebody if there's any rule changes or.
Yeah, I talked to Grant Gower at the Coaches Association clinic, and we didn't really talk a lot about softball, but that may be more of a Mike Clark subject to broach, but no, not that I've heard anyway, but I'm sure that we'll get told if there are. But the only thing baseball had for this year, and I think you and I talked about that on the phone, was just they're going to safety bags or 18-inch bags, which softball's been doing that for quite some while. So, well,
kudos to you guys out there playing softball, those coaching, umpiring, watching. It's so daggum hot. We've had 85 consecutive days it feels like 85 days of 100-degree weather.
Sweltering.
Just going outside to the vehicle is just so hot. So as Coach Mudgett added, then you add turf onto a lot of these facilities. So man, it's it's hot. Hopefully it'll cool down for them. I know state tournament's middle of October.
Yep.
And so we'll look forward to that. See who makes it. State tournament Hall of Fame this year?
Probably Fire Lake, given the proximity to 28 Olympics. I'm sure they don't want to drudge things up, keep it as pristine as they can for a while. But I don't know that for certain. I know Todd Boyer at Shawnee sent out baseball stuff, information about what they were doing this year for AB baseball. But I would presume Fire Lake again. If you asked me to make a definitive answer, I'd say yes.
Okay. Well,
just given the closeness to what 28 Olympics are.
Well, and that's something we'll probably learn throughout the week and throughout the season as well. Look forward to be there. And I know Tony has called many state championships there at either ballpark.
If you have somebody,
when's the stadium at Fire Lake going to be open?
27. It'll be open next year.
Next year. Okay.
Yes. So if you have like players that have been outstanding, my telephone number's on Facebook. Just text me your name and where you're from, and we'll try to get them on.
Absolutely,
recognize them for their outstanding performances. And if you're a coach and you've seen a request for a game changer from me, that's what it's for. Just so we can go in and look at some stats for some particular players to cover. And we're going to try to do a lot. And softball. It seems like you talk about a season's 10, 11 weeks long, but in the blink of an eye, we'll be at Shawnee.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, definitely, and be sure to subscribe on the YouTube page because, again, we'll have most of our stuff is right here on this Thursday night, but there might be some stuff throughout the week that we add on there as well.
For sure.
So Tony might be live from a softball game somewhere. So
we'll see. Most likely we'll be.
We'll see. So, all right, number 1's in the books.
Thanks, Chris.
All right.
Appreciate it.
I don't know how number 2.
I got to go to Sharon. Have you ever been there?
I've seen it many times on a weather map.
Oh, okay.
If you're going to Sharon, you might as well go to Mutual and just make it a great trip.
We'd make it Mutual at that point?
Sharon Mutual.
I felt like Phil with that comment.
What county is Sharon Mutual in?
Oh, boy. That's a major? I don't know.
Is it major?
I don't know. I'll have to look. I'd actually have to look.
They're on the tornado map,
Yeah, for sure.
Northwest Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
You always see Sharon
100%.
Mutual up there.
100%.
So big thank you to head coach of the Choctaw Lady Jackets, Coach Lindsey Mudget, for joining us on our first ever high school huddle softball show. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of guests throughout the year. And more importantly, we can't remind you enough, your comments make the show go. So for Tony Wilson, I'm Chris Evans. We'll talk to you next time here on the High School Huddle.